So welcome everyone. We're doing a session here on how to get started at uni. Has anyone here been to university before? Okay, so you know what's going on? Have you? You can lead this session then? Not quite? Oh. So this is a part, I guess this is a way of promoting a weekly session that I run called Life Hacks Drop-In Sessions that happen just outside of this door in the lounge area. It's a pretty informal chat with your fellow students. If it gets really big and popular, we'll do it in here. And we talk about different topics, which I don't have right now, but has everyone got a brochure, a Life Hacks brochure? Yeah, so there's all the topics listed on there. Can I borrow that for a sec? So we cover things like setting goals, better habits. Does anyone here procrastinate? Does anyone here not procrastinate? What's your secret?
Using a calendar.
Using a calendar. We'll be talking about that soon, okay. If only it was as easy as that. It's good that it works for you. We've got boosting your mood and get motivated, stress less, managing anxiety, dumping digital distraction, and the most popular one last year was about relationships. So there's lots of different topics that we'll be covering. And before we go any further, I just want to acknowledge and pay my thank yous to the Kaurna people for their custodianship of this land that we get to study and meet on today. I wasn't expecting this many people, so this is great. If you have any questions, just yell out. Let's make this really interactive. So getting off to a good start at uni. I've got 5 main points I want to make. The first one is about stress and well-being. Really important to normalise this transition. I've had a few people that have come down the stairs today that they looked pretty pale and a little bit anxious, and I think it's really normal to feel that way. So let's normalise the fact that starting something brand new and coming to a new place can be quite scary, especially if you're an international student. I'll never forget my first day going to uni, and it was a bit overwhelming. And I ended up dropping out actually after about 6 weeks. It was all a bit too much for me. Come on through. If you can't find a chair, then you can always stand. There's some chairs over there if you want to grab one. There's a free seat there maybe, yeah? So, by the way, I'm Chris. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm one of the counsellors in the counselling team, and I run wellbeing programs as well. Life Hacks being one of them. When I'm doing counselling, pretty much every single session, in the first session, I'll usually mention these things here. And they're so simple and so basic, but I'm not sure about you, but I often forget to do these really simple things. And all the evidence shows that these things really work well. So, sleep. We know that humans need 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. And good quality sleep. So going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, is so important for our circadian rhythm, our body clock. This is a hard one, but not looking at your screens a half an hour before bed. Does anyone struggle with that one? Yeah. It's hard, but as you probably all know already, that the blue light from those screens, it tricks our brain to thinking it's daylight, and therefore our melatonin doesn't get produced, and we don't get a very good quality sleep. And we know, I'm sure you know from your experience, that when you don't get a good night's sleep, you're just not the same kind of human, are you? You're not a very good human. So sleep is so important, as is nutrition. So we know that what we put in here is really important. It's a case of you are what you eat. So making sure you're eating healthy, nutritious food, really important. And movement. So it's a bit of exercise every day as well. And I see a lot of students that say, I don't have time for exercise. And I think, well, yeah, I can see why that can be a struggle, because there's a lot of demands. There's work and there's study and there's socialising and all that sort of thing. But if you can just fit a bit of time in for some exercise, it's really going to help. All the evidence shows that it stimulates endorphins in your brain and it boosts your mood. Most good GPs, if someone come on through, most good GPs these days, if you go to a GP and start feeling a bit down, it's not sort of life-threatening, but you're feeling a bit down, most GPs will prescribe exercise instead of antidepressants, because the research shows that it can stimulate that dopamine that people need just to feel good and have clarity of mind. So really basic stuff. So just in that session before, I talked about mindfulness techniques. So coming back into the present moment, being more in the here and now, as opposed to allowing our mind to run rampant and think about all the negative things that our brain can get caught up in. So if you're interested in that, there's a program I run, Mindfulness for Academic Success, that you can apply for. You might all have one of these. If not, there's some out the front. That's a 5-week program that will be starting in late March. And of course, knowing where to find support. So the great news is that Flinders Uni, I'm quite sure we are number 1 in the state for student support services. So you've chosen the right uni. We are here to support you every step of the way. And I'll talk to you a bit more about the services that are on offer as well a bit later on. So in the counselling service, we often see people that struggle with time management and study skills. That's a big thing. And sometimes in schools they don't actually teach you this stuff, do they? They're teaching you the material, but they don't teach you how to learn. So what kind of planners or digital calendars do you guys use? What do you use? The guy who doesn't procrastinate. What kind of calendar?
Use a physical calendar.
A physical one? Oh, that's old school. Yeah.
It's like every single time I wake up, I see it.
Yeah.
It just constantly reminds me.
Yeah. Google, yeah, me too.
I use a diary with a calendar in it.
Yeah, excellent. A physical one too? Yeah, excellent. I know a lot more people that are doing that these days. And I think are there free diaries at one of the stalls down there? Is Fusa giving away a free diary? Yeah? Okay. They're really cool, and they're based around the Flinders timetable and all the important dates. So please grab one of those. Oh, yes. Can you just please hold that up? Does everyone have one of these? This is a yearly planner. These are helpful because you can stick it on your wall and have a really bird's eye view of your semester, and you can sort of get an idea of when everything is due. And we've got some on the reception table just here. Just grab one. So having different ways, everyone is different. Some people might really love doing online calendars, but other people might prefer having sticky notes all over their room. One thing we talk to people about is breaking large tasks into smaller, manageable steps, and using one of those can be really helpful. Any diary or any calendar. So you actually, say if you've got a 3,000-word essay, you might be breaking it up into 3 or 4 sections, and just tackle that one little section at a time. If you think about the fact that you have to write 3 essays in one weekend because you've been procrastinating, it's a bit overwhelming. So just breaking it into smaller chunks. Has anyone heard of the Pomodoro technique? Yeah, can anyone explain what that is? Yeah?
Like usually it's like 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, or it can be like 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off. It's just structured breaks with.
Yeah, does that work for you? So yeah, I think it's quite useful because if you say I'm going to be studying on Saturday, that's what you tell your friends. I can't go out because I'm studying on Saturday, and I'm going to be doing my essay. It's all a bit overwhelming all day. And on your essay, why not break it into smaller chunks? And 25 minutes isn't too bad, is it? So put your phone off, turn your phone off, That's a little phone hack, actually turning it off, putting it in a different room, making it as hard as possible to get to, and just having 25 minutes of focus and concentration, telling everyone around you not to disturb you. And then after 25 minutes, you get a 5-minute break to do whatever the hell you want to do. How good is that? You can walk around the block, eat a piece of pizza, do whatever you like. But I wouldn't recommend going back onto your phone because you might not come back. And having a consistent study routine as well. So again, using those calendars to work out, now this is a really important one as well, I think, which is working out when your brain is most focused. Who here is a morning person? I love you morning people. Who is an afternoon person? And who is a night owl? Oh, I feel sorry for you guys. That must be hard. Is that when you're most productive? At night? Yeah. So, I mean, but you've got to go with what works for you. Of course, prioritising sleep as well. But working out when your brain is most focused. For me, there's no point trying to work after 7 p.m. It's just a waste of time. I'll be sitting in front of my computer, not doing much at all. But in the morning, I'll probably get 2 or 3 times the amount of work done. So choosing that time when you know you are most focused. Now, I've got some students that have come in for counselling and they tell me what's worked for them is that they treat uni like a 9 to 5 job. If you can do that, you might have another job, but some students might come in and they say, okay, I don't have lectures or tutorials, but I'm going to come to the library, find my favourite spot, and that's where I'm going to be all day. I come to Oasis and make my lunch. So having a good space, at least the space that you study at home, making sure it feels good. It's got to have good energy and feel like you want to be there. Do feel free to grab some chairs, guys, if you don't understand. So this is one thing that we're really big on here at Oasis. This is the Wellbeing Centre here that you're in. And the research shows that students that have friends, that have connections at uni, they do better, they're more successful. Because it makes sense, doesn't it, to have someone you can talk to and share your experience and complain to and whinge about the academics and the work you have to do. It feels good to have a little study group. And the research also shows that body doubling works really well. Does anyone know what that is? When I first heard that, I thought, that's weird, what the hell is that? So body doubling is just studying with someone else or a group of people. You don't have to be studying the same thing, it could be something totally different. In fact, I discovered last year that there's YouTube channels. Does anyone know about that? A YouTube channel where you can watch people study with you? Do you do that?
Not the YouTube channel, but there's a website called like StudyMate or Focus Mate or something, and you essentially like book in a time, and it could be a stranger, but essentially because you both don't have like someone to physically body double.
Yeah.
I've not used it, but I've been recommended it.
Yeah. So it can be really helpful, that sense of accountability, and you're working together. I haven't been down there, but is there lots of clubs, student clubs down there in the hub today? Yeah, so I really would recommend after this going down there and just talking to as many people as you can and maybe joining some clubs. We've got social clubs, there's student associations for different degrees, meeting like-minded people. Yeah, you've got your schoolmates and friends from work or wherever else, but you can make some really wonderful lifelong friends here at uni. And of course, please don't be afraid to ask for help. Or if you do feel afraid, that's okay, but ask for help anyway. We've got some amazing services here at Flinders. There's the Student Learning Support Service in the library on level 2 or 3, where you can, there's drop-ins so you can get help with your work. And of course there's our counselling service as well, which I will talk about. Now this is all about going easy on yourself and having some self-compassion for yourself, because it can be really easy to go a bit too hard too early, and just remember that uni, it is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So Yes, we want to avoid burnout. We want to find that balance, don't we? We don't want to be too relaxed like my son is with year 12 right now. He's way too relaxed, which is probably okay, but you want to find that balance and make sure that you have that downtime scheduled in your calendar. Everyone's different, but me personally, I don't mind the idea of having like a weekly planner with your week scheduled, and I try and do that every Sunday, and I try and actually account for almost every hour, which might sound a bit too much, but it's got my exercise, when I'm going to go to sleep, when I'm going to wake up, when I'm going to be working, doing project work, but when I'm going to have fun as well, when I'm going to spend time with friends or my partner, my kids. So you've got that time put aside. And that's just as important, because when you have that time for socialising, again, it's good for your brain and it'll help you to be more efficient when you do sit down to study. Of course, it's all about balance, and learning to say no and protecting your time and energy is important as well. So being mindful of it's okay to say no to people when you need to. So obviously getting really familiar with all the university platforms, that will happen over time. I've talked about the Student Learning Support Service that you can access. And FUSA, the Flinders University Student Association, has a financial counsellor, and they provide other financial support as well. They have food vouchers. We have a community market here every Thursday. We have free fruit and vegetables and bread and really cheap pantry items in here, 11 till 1. So making sure that you're accessing all the help you can get so you don't have to work as much. So you've got more time to yourself. So to wrap this up, we're going to be kind to ourselves. And again, the science shows that self-compassion and being kind to ourselves is really important. That adjusting does take time. Staying curious and open to new experiences. Remembering that support is always there. And of course, enjoying the journey as well. For those of you that don't know, we have a free and confidential counselling service here at Flinders. We offer up to 6 sessions per issue during your degree. And I really encourage you to reach out to get some support if you feel like you need to. If you're not sure, it's okay. Just make a time. We can have a chat. There's myself and 7 other counsellors on board. There's counsellors in the city, Sturt, and at our Northern Territory campus as well. So that is it. I hope to see you at some of the Life Hacks sessions during the year in this beautiful building. You don't have to register for those ones, you just drop in whenever you feel like it. Any questions about anything at all? Yes?
Who's the financial officer?
So it's with Flinders University Student Association, otherwise known as FUSA. They've got a stall down there, and they're on level 2 of the hub as well. They have it's a free financial counselling service. So I would highly recommend that. I think Stacey is the financial counsellor there. Yeah, she's really great. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you so much for coming today. Really appreciate your attendance, and hopefully we'll see you around Oasis. Good luck for the first few weeks, and if you need support, just come and see us. And if you've got any questions now, just hang around. I'll be happy to chat to you as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, if you didn't sign the sign-in sheet, wherever the hell that is. Oh, you know. Thank you very much. Thank you for your feedback. I'll sign. Oh, I think that's the one. Yeah, do. That's what you say. Yes. Yes. On?